Forrest School believes that correctly administered sensory processing interventions support children to engage in their learning. To be ready to learn, a child must be able to pay attention to a variety of different stimuli whilst filtering out irrelevant stimuli. This needs to happen together with maintaining a calm, alert state. This can be difficult for many of the students at Forrest School, so we provide students with a range of tools and strategies to support them in obtaining and/or remaining in a calm, alert state, the optimal threshold for learning. Forrest School defines sensory processing as the way in which a student receives, processes and responds to sensory stimuli from the environment. Sensory processing is the ability to organise and interpret information received through the senses. Auditory processing, visual processing, tactile, oral processing, vestibular, which is movement processing, and proprioception, body position processing. At Forrest Parade, many of the students need a partner to regulate due to sensory information becoming disorganised, jumbled, or result in disproportionate responses to sensory input. An individual might be hyposensitive to sensation, they're undersensitive to sensory input, and we recognise this as sensory seeking behaviour. An individual is hypersensitive to sensation, meaning that they are oversensitive to sensory input. We recognise this as sensory avoiding behaviour. Our goal is to support students to meet their individual sensory needs and self-regulate. Students are supported through the use of sensory motor circuits, our sensory gym, and individual sensory interventions. Students are recognised as being in one of the three phases in their sensory learning. Emergent students are emergent in their sensory awareness and regulation skills and require assistance in all areas to engage in structured sensory regulated input. Developing students are developing their sensory awareness and regulation skills. They require less assistance to engage in structured sensory regulated input, and students may be communicating to ask for sensory input. And consolidating students are consolidating sensory awareness and regulation skills. They're independently engaging in sensory activities and they spend more time engaged in learning activities. Staff used a sensory checklist at the beginning of the year to identify the need for sensory intervention. Individualised sensory goals are developed for identified students as informed by this checklist. Goals are reviewed 6 months later to ensure goals are still relevant and to identify progress.